and we're here to tell you about the trip, take your questions on it, and to make the first of what we believe are several very important announcements coming out of our trip. We went to Poland and Germany to create more economic growth for the state of Illinois, more good paying jobs, more investment, more opportunity for our families, and higher incomes as a result. We focused on economic growth. We also went over there to talk about education. We brought the University of Illinois with us to form partnerships in research and technology development so we can grow the tech sector in Illinois. We also brought leaders from the community colleges in the state of Illinois to work with the Germans on their outstanding techniques for vocational training, technical training, and apprenticeship programs that they do in Germany to create an outstanding workforce. We want to learn from the practices in Germany and bring those practices back here to Illinois. Our trip lasted about 11 days, 12 days. We started in Poland, in Krakow, and then on to Warsaw. We met with dozens of businesses in Poland. We met with the Polish ambassador. Poland is an exceptional opportunity for Illinois because Poland is one of the fastest growing economies in the world since they threw off the yoke of the Soviet Union. And because many Polish companies do not have any presence yet in America, they are going to start to come here this year and in the future years, and we want to make sure that Illinois is the first place that Polish companies come to when they come to America. Because of our location, because of O'Hare Airport, and most importantly, because of our huge Polish-American community here, we have strong cultural connections, language connections, history, and we can take advantage of that friendship and partnership to create outstanding economic growth here in Illinois with Polish companies in the coming years. And I'll tell you about some of those companies that we met with a little later in the program. Then we went to Germany. Long, intensive days. We'd start 7 a.m. and not finish till about 11 p.m. We'd met with 2 or 3 companies in depth for 3 or 4 hours every day, each company, and then we'd have large meetings with businesses where we would pitch them on the state of Illinois, talking about all the advantages that we bring. The greatest people in America right here in Illinois, best location of any state in America, best transportation network, outstanding educational opportunity, and we found many German businesses very interested in learning more about Illinois and coming here. We already have more than 200 German companies invested in Illinois, employing about 38,000 Illinoisans, so Germany is already a major partner with Illinoisans. And we met with many of those companies while we were there. Companies that have a presence but want to expand that presence. Open new factories, open new offices, open additional centers of economic growth. One of the companies we met with is Continental. Continental is one of the largest automotive suppliers in the world, and they have their single largest factory here in the state of Illinois, down in southern Illinois in Mount Vernon. We went and talked with them in depth about their workforce and how we can bring more highly skilled people to work for them and expand their presence in Mount Vernon, and had very good discussions. But we met with many companies in pharmaceuticals, in food, in candy, in healthcare, and we had outstanding meetings. In addition to meeting with companies, met with university leaders, research leaders, and the opportunities for the people of Illinois with the people of Germany outstanding in the next few years. And in the coming weeks, we'll be making several announcements about new plant openings and new expansion with German businesses. While we were in Poland, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the partnership between the Illinois National Guard and the Polish Armed Forces. We have had a strong mutual defense agreement with Poland for years. Poland is a great military ally of the United States and close friends with our Illinois National Guard, and we celebrated the 25th anniversary of our partnership with them. And now I'd like to introduce Commander Major Sergeant Sean Carney to speak a little bit about our Illinois National Guard and our working with the Polish Armed Forces. Commander?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to ask 3 members of our delegation to come now speak with you for a couple minutes. Mark Peterson is our next speaker. He is the head of Intersect Illinois. It is the not-for-profit independent organization we created several years ago to drive more economic growth and recruit more companies to the state of Illinois. They are completely funded by donations from the business community in Illinois. No taxpayer funding goes to Intersect Illinois, and Intersect was the primary funder of this trip overseas. I also paid my own way and paid for a staff member, but Intersect Illinois was the fundamental financier for this trip. Mark Peterson is going to speak next. Also with us is Greg Bays, the chairman, the president of Illinois Manufacturers Association. Manufacturing is a major growth engine in Germany and Poland and here in Illinois, and he's going to talk a little bit about our manufacturing partnerships. We also have John Carpenter here, who's the head of economic development for DuPage County. We brought John Carpenter with us. We were honored to have him. We also had the head of economic development from Lake County with us, and also from the LaSalle, Rochelle area just south of Rockford. We had Jason Alexander with us as well. So I'd ask those three gentlemen to speak, and then finally we'll finish up with Lori Healy, who runs everything here at McCormick Place, to talk about the exciting news of the Hanover Messe trade show for advanced manufacturing and manufacturing technology coming here in September to enhance our partnership with Germany and Europe even more so. With that, I'll turn it over to Mark Peterson from Intersect Illinois.
Thank you, Governor. Anyone who takes a look at this schedule and understands economic development and foreign direct investment would understand that this is a very substantial initiative. 12 days in country. We traveled over 3,800 miles to see the companies that we saw. That said, this is only the beginning of the kind of focused efforts that Intersect Illinois will lead in the coming years. This is exactly the kind of effort that Intersect was created to move forward with, to allow the state of Illinois to provide us the ability to be flexible, the ability to be responsive, and the ability to recruit new companies from around the world. In the coming weeks and months, there will be substantial new jobs and new investment announced as a direct relationship of this trade mission, as well as the follow-up that we now are undertaking with all of the companies that we visited. But more importantly, this was about strengthening and building new relationships with companies in both Poland and Germany that will have benefits for the state of Illinois for years to come. In Germany, for example, we met with dozens of companies with annual revenues in the hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars, as well as global footprints and employment that exceeded hundreds of thousands of employees. So many of the companies, as the governor mentioned, have a presence in Illinois, but it's relatively small compared to their worldwide global employment. And that provides us with a unique opportunity for growth and advancement of new jobs and new investment here. Many of the companies in Germany we met with are also family-owned. These are multi-generational, family-owned businesses. I can't emphasize how important the building of those relationships are. These companies have been around in some cases for centuries, and the relationship that they have both to their family and their countries as well as to their partners when they explore new opportunities in the United States is paramount to their decision-making process. So I just want to say I'm grateful to the delegation for their tremendous support, their tremendous commitment to support our efforts to promote the state of Illinois. I want to thank the governor for being our chief salesperson and for the great job that he did overseas. And we look forward to more announcements for all of you and the global expansion of many of these companies' footprints in the coming months and years. Thank you.
John, this down a little. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here, Governor. Thank you so much for using our lovely venue to have this announcement here today. I wanted to just take a couple of minutes and talk about the Hanover Messe show that is coming as part of IMTS this year. There's been a long and historic relationship between IMTS and German manufacturing, but this year really takes it to another level. I'd like to take the opportunity to again introduce Michelle Edmondson from IMTS. They're our partner. They're the biggest trade show that comes to Chicago. I believe there will be in excess of 125,000 people here this year, beating last year by 10,000 people. Additionally, they're taking 300,000 square feet of additional space, using every rentable square inch of space on this campus for this huge show that comes in September. And certainly the industry in Chicago knows it. Every hotel, every restaurant, all the taxis, everybody knows it because it is the biggest show that puts people in hotels, in restaurants in the city of Chicago and the surrounding area, all the way out into the suburbs. So it's a great opportunity for the state of Illinois to really reap those benefits. Today also, you're seeing the setup for the start of the beauty show. Across the street in the West Building, we have Fresnia's Kidney Care that takes up the entire West Building. Later in the week, next week, we're setting up for Light Fair, which is the architectural and designs industry's largest light show. It has not been in Chicago since 1995, back here. And we recently announced a couple of long-term commitments to coming back to McCormick Place. The the International Food Technologists, which are actually based in Chicago, in the Chicago area, have signed through 2030. And ASCO, which is the American Society of Clinical Oncologists, has also signed through 2030. So we're very excited about what the future holds for our expanding and beautiful campus with the addition of the Marriott Marquis and the Wintrust Arena. Calendar year 2017 saw the largest attendance on this campus since 2004. 2018 is poised to exceed that significantly. So we're very, very pleased. We're thankful to the governor and everyone for their support for what goes on in this campus and its contributions to the local and state economy. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks everybody. So with that, I'll open it up to questions on this issue of economic development and the trip, and then we'll take a short break, and then I can also take questions on any other subject that you'd like to cover. Any questions on this? Yes, Marianne?
There was some talk that you might be coming back with an announcement of Absolute Factory. I know you said it's coming, but are you disappointed you're not able to say exactly what it is today?
Well, obviously we're not all patient. I'm one of the least patient people around. I do want to make a lot of announcements, but they'll be coming over the next few weeks. We have several really exciting announcements, new factories, new economic growth in the state from the trip.
Can you give us some idea of how many jobs you're talking about?
So throughout the state, different locations throughout the state of Illinois.
These are new and guaranteed, like signed, sealed, delivered, or?
They are all in various stages of commitment and signing agreements and whatnot. And we're going to be making the announcements at the appropriate time. The one announcement we're making today that hasn't really been throughout the press, and we hope will help get it around, is Hanover Messe coming here to Chicago. It's a really big deal. You think, well, it's another trade show. We have trade shows. This is the largest manufacturing technology show in the world, coming from Hanover, and they want to invest and commit to Chicago, commit to the state of Illinois, because we are leaders in manufacturing, because of O'Hare, because of McCormick Place, because of our economic opportunity here. They're picking us. They're not picking Atlanta or Vegas or Orlando or New York. They're picking Chicago, and this is going to drive major new visitors for tourism, but most importantly, it's going to bring hundreds of new manufacturing technology firms into Illinois to get to know our people, get to know our advantages, and we're going to get major economic growth out of it as a result.
If all these deals come through, just big picture, how many jobs are you hoping to see as a result of all these deals?
Well, clearly, Germany already has 38,000 Illinoisans working with their companies. There are many thousands more that we hope to add in the not too distant future. Poland really does not have much presence for their businesses anywhere in America. We want to make sure that we're planting the seed right now because Poland's growing fast. We have the largest Polish community in the world outside of Poland itself. We have O'Hare with direct flights into Warsaw and Krakow. We should be the place that all Polish companies come to America and establish their headquarters here. And we've established those relationships to start off right now.
So it's only a couple thousand jobs?
Oh, no, I said many thousands, many thousands. Over time, it'll be tens of thousands.
Hanover Messe was announced 9 months ago. Why is that news again?
The news is they're coming with companies that are going to be making commitments with us this year. And this is very exciting new development that we're going to talk more in detail in the coming weeks. Anybody else on this subject? Okay, other subjects, other questions? Yes, sir.
The General Assembly expects a report on the Illinois Veterans Home tomorrow. Will that report be ready? Also, will you reach out to President Trump for help speeding up federal assistance? And there's a 35-page report circulating and your administration pushing back against your response to the Legionnaires' outbreak there. And it blames previous governors, blames previous General Assemblies for the home falling into disrepair. Can you elaborate on that?
You just had a lot of stuff in there. Where do you want? What's the initial question?
Report. Will that be ready tomorrow? The report that you're working on for the General Assembly. And also, will you reach out to President Trump for assistance, federal assistance?
We have an understanding that whatever we need in terms of financial resources, we will be working with our General Assembly here in Springfield and also with Congress and the Veterans Administration in Washington, D.C. to get the resources to make sure that Quincy veterans are kept safe and healthy. And I believe we're going to get whatever we need financially as we need it in order to get that job done. It'll be federal as well as state, as well as with the municipality in Quincy. So I'm optimistic about that. We have various reports in process for the General Assembly and actually for the general public, and those reports will be coming out as appropriate here in very near future.
So not tomorrow?
I don't know the exact timing for tomorrow. As far as I know, if there's something due tomorrow, it'll be tomorrow.
And lawmakers wrote a letter saying that you should reach out to President Trump so you can expedite federal funds.
There's a process, there's a protocol, there's a procedure working through the Veterans Administration in Washington, D.C., and we're following the proper channels.
Your thoughts on the decision by the Senate yesterday not to call for veto override? What does that say?
I don't know that that's particularly highly relevant one way or another. That particular bill wasn't going to increase public safety very materially at all. What matters is that we increase public safety. We put an end, as we work as much as we can to keep our people safe, our children safe, our students safe, our police officers safe. We have our task force working on a bipartisan basis. 3 of the 4 caucuses, 2 Republican caucuses and the House Democratic caucus are working. What we shouldn't do is just have bills passed that are just a headline but don't really matter, that don't really keep people safer. What we want to do is actually pass legislation and put in place new structures to truly change safety, improve safety for the people of Illinois and across America. And I hope in the coming weeks, Illinois will be a national leader in actually making a difference to increase public safety. And we're going to be making our proposals here in the next few weeks. Well, as I've indicated in the past, we're working on a number of issues, doing a much better job of keeping guns out of the hands of mentally ill folks and criminals. We could do more, do better, do more to keep our police officers safe. We can do more and do better. Do more in terms of stopping the illegal flow of guns into Illinois and across state borders through more state partnerships and state cooperation across state lines to stop that flow of illegal guns. There are many things we can do that will actually increase public safety, and that's what we're working on.
Does Sam McCann pose a threat to your reelection campaign?
I'm sorry?
Does Sam McCann pose a threat to your reelection?
McCann is being used as a pawn by Pritzker and Madigan. We're going to win in November.
So he poses no threat despite the fact that he's basically appealing to the same core Republican conservative base that Jimmy Ives did and narrowly losing to you.
McCann is a pawn. He's being used by Pritzker and Madigan, and we're going to win in November.
Should McCann be included in the debates? Would you attend debates in which McCann is invited?
Will you attend any debates? I don't know if you've committed to any.
We'll talk about the process of the election. Debates haven't really. Well, debates haven't even come up yet. We're barely getting started with the election.
We've reached out to you.
I'm sorry.
We've reached out to your campaign.
Okay, great. Well, you know what? There's debates.
No.
Collectively,
No
so will
response
you
yet.
commit here?
You guys sound like you're as patient as me.
The Pritzker campaign.
Of course we're gonna have debates. Of course we're gonna have debates.
Are you okay with Sam McCann being included in the debates?
Well, your campaign tried to knock Sam McCann off the ballot on a signature challenge.
I've talked about that individual. Any other questions?
Can you talk about, on this mission, what about Illinois' reputation as far as the budget and pension? Did that come up as a negative to them as you tried to move them to come?
It came up in some conversations. Obviously, Businesses want to see fiscal stability and fiscal responsibility, and we haven't had that for 30 years in Illinois, including the last 3. The General Assembly has continued to pass unbalanced budgets even over my veto, even after I've proposed balanced budgets. We just don't have fiscal discipline here. So that's a worry for folks. The businesses all expressed support and enthusiasm for what our administration is trying to do to improve things and change things. It's about fiscal discipline, about reducing the tax burden and keeping it reasonable, and it's also about reducing the regulatory burden. But you know, the good news is we have so many competitive advantages. People, location, transportation, education. We have so many competitive advantages that there are many companies who are still willing to come here despite some of our financial mismanagement from prior administrations and the legislature, and are willing to make a bet long term that we'll solve some of those problems with our hard work, and so they're still coming here. If we could make some of the changes that I've been recommending, our economy would boom. We would grow 5 times faster than we are, and we would eclipse Texas and many other states with economic growth. And that's the key. We'll never have balanced budgets as long as our economy grows slower than our government spending. We got to change that. And this trade mission was to help us design, to actually make that happen.
So how do you sell Illinois after going around the state saying that the state is going into a debt spiral? How do you go out of the country and tell everybody?
We always should have watched our press conferences and our meetings. The answer is we sell all the advantages that we have to sell. People, location, transportation, education, agriculture, heart of manufacturing, heart of American economy in the Midwest. Those are great things to sell, and that's what we sell every day.
So is Illinois in a debt spiral?
We have been uncompetitive on our regulation and taxes for decades. It's the reason we always are among the slowest growing states. This is true. We still grow, but the point is we should grow 5 times faster, and that's what we're trying to do. We should grow 5 times faster than we actually are.
Governor, we have time for one more question. Rascals. What do you mean by that? And why use that sort of language to talk about people that you're needing and asking to pass a bunch of gun bills, a budget, etc.? Why that rhetoric?
So we still unbalanced budgets. Massive tax hike last year over my veto. Still billions of dollars of deficit spending. And we're working right now to try to get a balanced budget on a bipartisan basis. I've proposed a budget. So far they're ignoring it. And the process is incredibly slow. There's really strong resistance to having balanced budgets. And when, you know, we're not the federal government. We can't print money. We need to live within our means. And nobody should, we shouldn't kid ourselves that somehow just raising taxes is going to solve our problem. It'll make it worse. We'll push more employers out. We'll keep many companies from wanting to come here, and it'll make things worse. We need fiscal discipline. We need to live within our means. And when I talk about the General Assembly, right now there's a bunch of baloney, and that's a nice word for it, from our comptroller, saying somehow our administration is responsible for interest for unpaid bills for decades. That is the most ridiculous, preposterous statement. And our comptroller was in the General Assembly for years under Mike Madigan. She voted for the deficits that have created the unpaid bills. She voted to support Blagojevich's pension holiday that created huge liabilities that we're funding now. She created the problem, and now she puts out a memo and says, oh, it's the governor's fault. Are you kidding me? We got to get real here, ladies and gentlemen. There's rascals and scoundrels who are misrepresenting the truth and who are really responsible, and they're trying to brush off that responsibility. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Have a good day.